Welcome. If you've landed here, it's because somewhere along the way, someone looked at you and said those words that sting like a cold wind through your soul. You've changed. Or maybe, I can't read you anymore. Those words aren't just observations. They're the tremors that ripple through the fragile world of control and manipulation. Today, I want to speak directly to you, the one who's been caught in that silent battle, the one whose very transformation has become a source of fear and accusation from those you once trusted. This is not just a message, it's a lifeline, a clear-eyed, no-nonsense guide through the fog of manipulation, wrapped in the sharp wisdom of Machiavelli and the fierce love of someone who refuses to watch you lose yourself. Let's begin. They say it like you've committed some unspoken crime. You've changed. I can't read you anymore. The undertone is always the same, a mixture of mild accusation, bewilderment, and a thinly veiled threat that somehow suggests you've betrayed some sacred code of human conduct. As if you were once a well-worn book, a familiar novel they could flip through with their eyes closed, and now, surprise. You've become a locked chest buried under layers of stone, dust, and silence. Or maybe you were their favorite TV show, comforting and predictable, and suddenly you've switched to a channel that only plays static. White noise so maddening that it scrambles their brains and makes their fingers twitch in frustration. But here's the thing. When you stop explaining yourself, you don't create a void. No, you create a vacuum, an empty space filled with their own discomfort, their own fears and insecurities bouncing back like a bad echo in a hollow cave. That silence you leave behind, it's not a peaceful retreat. It's an electric storm of accusation and confusion, a tempest that makes you wonder if you've stumbled into some bizarre psychological tornado. They demand your explanations, your endless justifications, not because you owe them one, but because your refusal to perform unsettles them, robs them of their precious power to shape your narrative, to predict your every move, and to hold you hostage in their version of reality. Let's be honest. People cannot tolerate what they cannot predict. The human psyche is a creature of habit, an anxious, nervous animal desperately clinging to routine like a drowning man clutching at driftwood. Your unpredictability, that's a cold wind blowing through their fragile little nests, shaking the twigs and leaves until they crack. And they hate it. They fear it. Because it means losing control. An idea more terrifying than a horror movie marathon with no popcorn. The truth is, they're not afraid of you changing. They're terrified that their carefully constructed illusion of dominance, of mastery over your life, is slipping through their fingers like wet soap. If this already hits close to home, don't stop now. There's so much more ahead, and I promise it gets better. Better in the sense of making you see the web of manipulation for what it is and reclaiming your power from the jaws of those who think they own it. Hit that like button if you're ready to take the first step toward freedom. And subscribe if you're tired of being a puppet in someone else's twisted game. Trust me, the full story is worth every second because this is your life, and you're finally getting to write your own damn script. Now ask yourself, why are you so afraid to disappoint them? What invisible contract have you signed, sealed with invisible ink, that says you must always be agreeable, readable, compliant? Did you honestly believe that by folding yourself into an endless series of yeses, by smoothing over every crack with your apologies, you would buy loyalty, gratitude, love, Oh, sweet summer child. Machiavelli himself would raise an eyebrow and chuckle at the naivete of such thinking. Yes, Machiavelli, the old cynic with a glass of wine and a wry smirk, understood human nature better than anyone. He knew that loyalty bought through appeasement is counterfeit currency, worthless the moment the light hits it. Gratitude for your self-betrayal, that's a fleeting shadow that disappears at the first breath of freedom. And love that demands your sacrifice, that's not love. It's a silk mask concealing a steel trap, a master carving shadows into a delicate sculpture, authority masked by a fragile veneer. If you want to be free, you have to be prepared to be alone, not lonely. There's a crucial difference. Loneliness is a hollow echo chamber, a desolate room with no doors or windows. Alone, that's the quiet, empowering space where you get to sit with yourself, unfettered and unfiltered, standing in the silence that follows your no, watching doors close behind you that you didn't even slam. These doors close because they cannot bear the weight of your independence, because your refusal to be their puppet tears the script in two, exposing the flimsy, paper-thin facade they've constructed. This won't be easy, and you won't like it at first. The absence of their voices, their demands, their constant need for your compliance will feel like a gaping wound. But here's the thing. Wounds heal, and in healing, you find new strength. I promise you. Once you stop chasing their approval, you'll see the mechanics of their game clearly. I've been there. I've done that. The accusations come first, like wasps swarming a disturbed nest, snapping and buzzing around your head. How dare you change, they sneer. Who gave you the right to set boundaries? Because, in their twisted dictionary, boundaries translate to betrayal. To them, your standing your ground is an act of treason. And when you refuse to explain, when you stand your ground like a fortress, impenetrable and unmoving, they will retreat. They'll sulk, gossip, spin tales where you're the villain, the cold-hearted traitor who has turned her back on the family, the friend, the lover, all to avoid confronting their own dependence on you, their reliance on your compliance to prop up their fragile ego. Let them, because by enduring this storm without apology, you reveal something that terrifies them. You are no longer available as their emotional vending machine. You are no longer their backup plan, their emotional pillow, their guilt dealer. And that, my dear, is their greatest fear. Here's a little secret nobody likes to say aloud. People respect what they cannot easily access. They value what they have to earn. The more you give without demand, the less they appreciate it. The more you explain yourself, the less your words carry weight. The more you rush to soothe their fragile egos, the less respect they have for your calm. Scarcity breeds value. Mystery wields power. The less they know, the more they want to. And the more they want, the less they take for granted. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He wrote that, "Appearances matter more than intentions, because the world judges by what it sees, not what it knows." Nothing looks more formidable than a person who needs nothing from those who would use them. The image of someone who stands tall, silent, and self-sufficient is a threat to every manipulator. It's like a lion sitting calmly in the grass while hyenas circle, fearful, but knowing they're out of their depth. So be that person. Hold your silence like a fortress. Let them flail and falter around your walls. You think you're losing people when you stop bending? Perhaps you are. But who exactly are you losing? the ones who demanded your constant compliance, the ones who treated your energy like an endless buffet, taking and taking without thought, the ones who thrived on your guilt, feeding off your exhaustion like parasites. Their departure isn't loss, it's liberation. It's the shedding of dead skin, the pruning of a sickly branch. It clears space for those who respect your boundaries, who can meet you without strings attached. And most importantly, it gives you back yourself, your time, your energy, your dignity. These aren't luxuries, they are essentials, the foundation stones of a life designed by you, not dictated by someone else's manipulative script. Let them whisper, let them slam their doors. The cost of their approval was always too high. And when you stand there, perhaps alone but unbroken, you will feel something strange and unfamiliar creeping back. Your own power, your own unedited voice, your own unnegotiated values. This is your foundation, the solid ground beneath your feet from which everything else will grow. And in that moment, you will understand the true meaning of freedom, not the ability to say yes to everything, but the unflinching capacity to say no. Now picture yourself as a ship battered in a storm, not the one you chose, but the one forced upon you by manipulative seas. For years, you sailed guided by the stars of their approval, their demands like crashing waves. You learned to bend with the storm, to keep your sails tight and your rudder steady, always steering where they wanted, always avoiding the rocks of disapproval. You thought that if you kept the ship afloat, they would stay aboard, safe and secure. But now, look around. The sky is clearing, the storm has passed, and you realized the sea you thought was your home was actually a trap, a cage of water and wind. You have changed course. You are no longer their vessel. You are your own captain, and that terrifies them, because they were not passengers on your ship. They were thieves hiding in the hold, stealing your supplies, controlling the maps, rewriting the logbooks. When they say, "You've changed," what they mean is, "You're no longer our easy prey." When they say, "I can't read you," they're admitting they've lost their grip on the helm. You are now a mystery to them, a locked treasure chest they no longer know how to open. And that, my dear, is your power. You might be thinking, but what if I lose everyone? What if this new version of me is too foreign, too difficult, too unrecognizable? Let me tell you something Machiavelli knew well. Power is never given. It is taken. And you don't take power by being the perfect, agreeable puppet. You take power by standing alone on a battlefield, by holding your ground when everyone else has fled. Losing people who demanded your surrender is not a loss. It's a natural shedding, like a snake shedding its skin. Is it painful? Yes, but necessary for growth. And what replaces those lost souls? People who see you, not as a shadow or a projection, but as the real, complex, unpredictable you. People who don't want to control your story, but want to walk alongside you as equals. You are not meant to be anyone's mirror or echo. You are meant to be a voice, loud and clear, in your own right. Now let me share a little secret about silence and power. Silence is not the absence of communication. It is the presence of choice. When you withhold your explanations, your justifications, your soothing words, you are reclaiming control over your story. And oh, how they will try to fill that silence with noise, gossip, accusations, manipulation. They will cast you as the villain, the cold-hearted, the changed one. But let me ask you, who really deserves that title? The one who finally says no, or the ones who demanded endless yeses? Thank you for staying with me through this. Your willingness to face these truths is the first step toward real change. If this message resonated with you, please like and subscribe so you never have to face these battles alone. Because together, we're learning not just to survive manipulation, but to rise stronger and freer than ever before. Machiavelli famously said that, "The ends justify the means." In this case, the end is your freedom, and the means may be silence, boundaries, and the courage to stand alone. If that makes you changed, then so be it. Better to be changed and free than unchanged and a prisoner. Think of your life as a garden. For years, you've been watering plants that never grew, pruning flowers that only withered, tending weeds disguised as friendships and obligations. You thought that by nurturing these toxic vines, you were cultivating love, loyalty, belonging. But no, you were feeding parasites. Now you've decided to stop watering the dead soil. You've chosen to plant seeds in new ground. It's scary, yes, unknown, but fertile. You will grow. You will blossom. And those who only wanted to steal your light will wither in your absence. Finally, remember this. Freedom is not the ability to say yes to everything. It is the power to say no without flinching. It is the courage to remove yourself from the puppeteer's strings and stand tall in your own shadow. So, when they say you've changed, smile quietly. Let them stew in their discomfort. Because the real change isn't just in you, it's in them, in their inability to control what they cannot understand. And that, my friend, is your ultimate power. You have changed, and you are finally free. Thank you for allowing these words to reach the part of you that's been buried under doubt and fear. I see you, truly see you, because once I was that puppet. And I want you to know that whatever storms you face, you are never alone. Your courage to change, to stand firm, to reclaim yourself is a beacon in the darkness. Not just for you, but for everyone who loves you. Remember, your worth is not measured by their approval, but by the strength of your own heart and the clarity of your own voice. I am here, always, rooting for you. Because you deserve nothing less than your fullest, freest self. Hold on to that. Hold on to you. Take care until next time.